I have good news, Guardsmen. Today we are getting support from the Adeptus Mechanicus. Hooray! However, there is a small problem. Due to high casualty rates amongst our new allies, they have asked me to provide volunteers to help bolster their ranks. Now, don't you worry about that contract. It is just words. Who knows how to read anyways? I have been giving talking points to win you over. Now let's go watch a short segment provided by our allies. Oh, hello there. Yes, it is me, Commissar NUKA, and I'm speaking to you in the Mechanicus Manufactory. It is a beautiful place where the flesh is weak and a certainty of steel. Are you sick of losing your last gun? I'm talking to you, Private Jenkins. Then need not to worry, your arm will be the gun. Remember, if it's good enough for a Space Marine Dreadnought, it's good enough for a Guardsman. Are you sick of your arms being like wet noodles? Well, say no more. With the certainty of steel and combat enhancements, you will be as strong as an Ogron. Are you sick of having a helmet without a face cover or not be able to see at night? Well, the Mechanicum has you covered. Rejection of mechanical parts may occur, including turning into a servo skull, rejection of chemical parts, and a non-intact brain. Remember, Guardsmen, it is your duty to help our Martian friends. Yes, I did the promo. Ah, thank you for the Land Raider. Oh, Guardsmen. Let's get started. Step 1, I prime this mini in Leadbelcher, but you can also prime it in Iron Warriors. Step 2, we're gonna use Corn Red to base the armor plates. It's gonna be easier to spread on if it's just slightly watered down. We're gonna wanna do the chest, as well as the helmet, and the back thing, and if applicable, the knee. And also, I have no idea why it is so bright. It looks like the beacon of Gondor has been lit. This will be fixed later in the video. Step 3, we're gonna use deep skin flesh. We want the flesh to look kind of sickly, and this is what this paint is. So you're just gonna paint all of the fleshy bits with it. Step 4, we're gonna use Abaddon Black. We're gonna start off painting the pants and the boots. Now the pants and the boots are connected on this mini, but if they are not for you and you wanna make the boots leather, I would base it in Dryad bark. Next, we're gonna go ahead and paint that little gap that's underneath the helmet. That should be in that neck area, and you're just gonna get your brush and just firmly put it in there. Next, you're gonna wanna paint all of the hoses black. Now, I didn't paint the hoses black to the gun, but I did end up doing it later on. Step 5, we're gonna use Balthazar Gold, or I like to call it Balthazar Bronze. And I painted the coils connecting to the gun, as well as the sights and those little adapter pieces on it. This is gonna help break up some of that metal and help it pop out better. For the injections on the arm, I decided to use Moot Green. You're gonna wanna water this down just slightly so it's gonna be easier to glide on. You can also tap it on the side of your brush to help get into some of those areas. Now it's time for Agrax Earthshade, or just any brown muddy wash that you prefer. We're gonna wash the whole mini, but the fleshy bits. We're gonna leave that alone for now. If you do end up getting some of that wash on the fleshy bits, you can always get a brush that is slightly wet, not too wet, just slightly, and you can just brush off some of that wash that you just put on there, and it should come off fairly easy. For the skin, we're gonna get Eshin Gray, and we're gonna wanna water this down significantly until it's almost like a wash substance, so very watery. We're gonna wanna get our brush and we're just gonna lightly put it over the skin and let it seep into some of those grooves. We're gonna go back to Deepkin Flesh, and you're gonna wanna just stipple or just tap, 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 tap on the protruding areas. Or you could glaze, which is just a watered down version of it, and you just build up color. For the injection site, you're gonna get Emperor's Children, or just a pink paint, and you're gonna water it down significantly until it's a very watery substance. You're gonna go circle around the injection site, leaving the slight pink hue. Now it's time for highlights. We're gonna go get ourselves some Infeastin Red, and you're gonna get the excess paint off using a paper towel. Next, we're gonna want to just stipple it in onto all of those areas that we originally painted in corn red. You wanna just stipple in on the larger areas of highlights. Now for areas like on the knees and the backpack, it's okay to hit those edges along the corners. But when it comes to the chest, we want to stay away from the edges, leaving it darker, and just stipple it in close to it, but not near the edge. This is gonna be the same for the helmet, where we're gonna want to just stipple it in and stay away from some of the other objects that are on the helmet. For even brighter highlights, we're gonna use Evil Sun Scarlet. You're gonna wanna get the excess paint off first using a paper towel, and you're gonna wanna hit some of those edges as well as areas that we previously just painted in Infeastin Red. But we wanna do it in smaller sections so some of that Infeastin Red is still showing. We want this to be the brightest highlight, so you don't wanna highlight everything, but just in smaller sections. For highlights on the metal parts, we are going to use Stormhost Silver, or just any bright silver. We're just gonna wanna tap on those edges. We don't want clean lines, so you're just gonna wanna tap it. And this is gonna help make it look more grimdark and just uneven. So you're gonna wanna do this on all of the metal edges as well as the metal hoses. Now you don't wanna get into those little creases, so you may have to paint every individual one, or just kind of use the end of your brush and hit those highlights on those metal hoses. And if you want to add scratches, this is your time. You're gonna use the same silver, Stormhost Silver, and you're just gonna wanna add some chips and scratches along the edges of the red armor. For highlights on the bronze areas, we're going to use Sycorax bronze. We're going to want to just use the end of our brush, or we're going to hit some of those bronze coils that we did earlier. We're also going to want to do this bronze parts that we did. We want to hit major areas of highlights and edges. For highlights on the black parts, we're going to use Cantor Blue. We're going to paint all of the black hoses. We're going to hit all of the little areas that are lifted up, as well as the black pants. Now for the pants, we're just going to want to do major areas of highlights and edges. But if it ends up being too much and the pants now look like jeans and that's not what you wanted, you're going to get yourself a very watered down Abaddon black or a slightly watered down contrast black Templar, and you're just going to wash over the pants so that it has just a slight hue of blue for the highlights. Now for the eyes, we're going to base it in a pure white. It's going to be easier to put on if it's just slightly watered down. You're just going to want to do those little circles and you don't want to get it anywhere else. To create the blue glow, we're going to get ourselves Contrast Frost Heart. You're going to want to water this down until it's a very light blue. You don't want too much paint on your brush, so you can always use the end of a plate to get that excess paint off. You're going to brush over the white areas completely and the surrounding areas as well. Now, with pure Contrast Frost Heart, not watered down at all, we're going to want to do it around that circle area of the eye, not the area that we painted in white originally. You're going to want to do around the circle areas and a little bit in the surrounding area as well. Some of you may have saw the new Horus Heresy Mechanicum. Don't be deceived. Everybody in the Imperium knows the older something is, the better. Besides, it's not like I've had this mini sitting in my pile of opportunity for 4 years. If you want even more content, check out my gaming channel at NUKA Gaming. Bye!